assault and batteries, but my trunk stay ever ready. Assault and battery, if you scared, you never ready.
Okay, we are here for episode number, what are we at? Beginning WrestleMania 28, or episode 4 of the Kliq Roundtable. This is, four, throw those fours up. We are here with TNA NES Attitude.
TNS Attitude, man.
You've been around for a minute. You're one of the OGs now.
I feel that way. It seems that way. Everyone says that now. They're one of the OGs.
The Gorilla Report. There's a throwback.
Yes, sir. The old Gorilla Report back in the day before the Chris Van Vliets of the world. We had the Gorilla Report.
You were a trailblazer. You walked so Chris Van Vliet could run. Let's just put it that way, right?
Oh, I think that's kind of how it feels right now. Yes.
It does. So we are here to talk about WrestleMania 29. You and I, was that your first WrestleMania?
Yes, that was indeed my first WrestleMania.
It was.
Yeah.
So your perspective is going to be a lot different than mine. We knew each other. Like, I just want to start off with that. It's not like we were strangers. I believe we had like an underlying Kliq versus UK Rampage. This is our connection.
Yeah, it pretty much was like that, wasn't it? There was a lot of banner online with the YWC, and obviously you guys have been doing Mania trips since 27. I want to say
it was 27. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean my introduction with the YWC was through Gavi Knotts. Obviously, I know my good buddy Gavin, who obviously he still does a little bit here and there. And then obviously I got to then got to know you, and then obviously my good buddy Sean Blackford as well. I know he doesn't.
Boy, we know Sean very well. You and I.
Sean's another one of the OGs. But yeah,
Sean was the man. Sean was the one who started this YWC war.
The war.
You guys are goons. So to me, I was talking before we pressed this record, this was almost like a forgotten WrestleMania for me. It was my first WrestleMania without Steve and Miguel.
Yep.
And so it was your first. But before we get into that WrestleMania, I know there's been a loss in the YWC over this past WrestleMania weekend. And you were, I want to say friends with, I think that's fair to say you guys are friends more than acquaintances.
Yeah.
With Mark. And I don't know if you want to say a few words to, just kind of give insight onto what happened. I know you knew him on more of a personal level than a lot of us did, considering, what we knew is what we read online and from what people are posting on social media. But you've hung out with him. You made a video on him. You posted pictures.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean,
exactly. I mean, Mark is odd. Very much, he wasn't a YouTuber or anything like that. He was just a guy that I got to know. I actually knew Mark from 2009. That was the first time I actually met the guy. He lived in Cambridge originally, and he came to Nottingham for this autograph signing that was taking place at my local Asda, which is basically the Walmart of the UK. And they had Kane. Kane was there, and that was actually the first time that I actually got to meet Mark. And that was actually the first time I got to meet Gav. So we all kind of like bonded over this love of wrestling because we were all in the queue at the same time. We all stayed in contact, and then from there, I just kind of see Mark at shows. I'd see him I saw him at the TNA Maximum Impact Tour in 2012, where Hogan wrestled and Sting. I saw him again at a lot of Brit Rest shows across Nottingham with Southside. He's always been like a guy who would always have his passion in the love of wrestling and different appearances. And then I'd see him again at WrestleMania. I saw him at 30, so in New Orleans. So, it's a shame that this has happened, and it's just so sad. I mean, I know in his older life, he got a lot of health issues, and it's just sad that the wheels really fell off for him, and he passed away. It's just very sad, and I send all the love in the world to everybody, and there is a GoFundMe up for Mark. So if you want to try and help this repatriation and get him back, that would be amazing, because they just touched, I think they're on 19,000 something. So they've got to get to $30,000 for this repatriation because he's still in Vegas. So it's a real,
it's tragic, man. Honestly, when I saw Natalia posted, I'm like, because I've seen him before. The face is very familiar. I'm sure I've met him at 30, one of the WrestleManias. I'm sure we crossed paths. But then you hear what happened, and it's almost like, on one hand, you don't think it's real. You know what I mean? Some people maybe just go off, party too hard. But you said yourself, he's not a party type. And then when the news came out of what actually happened, it's damn, this is. at the end of the day, we're a big community, and like when one of our like, you know what I mean, one of our like, we're all friends at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And when
Look
one
at
of
that.
the people that we love, he went to WrestleMania. That's when you know he's like a real fan. He went to WrestleMania from England, so he's not
Yeah.
just one of those guys who just watch wrestling once in a while. This guy was like a passionate, hardcore wrestling fan, and
Absolutely.
it sucks.
Yeah, he lived for wrestling. You know, that was like one of his biggest things. I mean, he really was. And even in the UK, I mean, he would help out promoters with the shows, and he just did a lot of stuff for the community. And it is a shame and just very sad that this has happened. And I think for like it being on WrestleMania weekend is just very significant because I know like he had a lot of like bucket list ideas and stuff he was wanting to do that weekend. I know he had like I know he didn't get to do it, but he had a photo op to meet Stone Cold on the Saturday, and
Yeah.
I'm like really excited, and he just didn't get to do it because he was found and he passed away. So it's just very sad. So
It's
yeah,
quite a
oh my
shame,
God.
quite a big tragedy, honestly. When I hear it, it's like even that story of in itself, because you know, obviously you've met Austin
Yeah,
a couple times, I think, right? More than once, or
no,
is it
I've
only
only
once?
met him. I've only met
Once,
Austin once.
yeah. But you know, that's like something every fan wants to do, and the fact that he was just a day away from doing that,
Yeah,
it's quite sad.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
But prayers to his family and everyone who's his friends, everyone. It's shitty, and it's makes you kind of appreciate like life. You know, you can be doing what you love most, and just time waits for no man. You know, when it's your time, it's your time. Unfortunately,
Yeah, you just got to live your life and then live it to the full. That's the
yeah.
idea. You know, live it well.
So with WrestleMania being this one we went to, it was your first. So why don't you kind of talk about what made you want to kind of pull the trigger for it being your first?
Oh, great question. So yeah, with WrestleMania, you know, I had seen at this point, obviously, I was in the YWC now. I just started kind of making videos, and I was at the time keeping up contact. I made a few friends at the time. I'd met Robbie Rebel, Sean Blackford. There was Liam. It's Liam. It's me, Liam One at the time. A lot of some of them fell off, not really doing the YouTube thing no more. Sean as well. And our group had very much bonded. And obviously, I know the year prior, Robbie and Sean went to Miami for WrestleMania 28. I remember they went out there. I think Christian went as well. And they went out with their buddy, with Sean's friend Dave. So they all went. I think they did a package from what I remember. But I remember seeing the vlogs. I remember seeing the fun and like thinking to myself, man, I'd love to do that. And then I remember when I was, it was actually, when was it? So it was around that sort of time. I fell into a little bit of money. I fell into a little bit of inheritance, and there was a little bit of money that came my way. And I should have probably been a bit more careful and saved it up. But hey, money always
Yeah,
comes back. That's the old
geez.
saying. But
Buddy, that's the life I
inheritance,
live. That's what I live by. Like, it's okay. That's what it's my
it
motto
always
of life.
it always comes
Money
back.
comes and goes. It's okay.
But I
Just
made
go to
the right
WrestleMania.
decision. I thought about it and thought, damn, I've always wanted to go to WrestleMania. I was 20 at the time. And obviously, I got friendly with these guys. I've been talking to like all of them since 2011, and we've been friends for about 2 years at this point. So I'd kind of known Sean had done 27, 28. He was planning on doing 29, but was going out with Rob and Liam. And then obviously, I just was like, "Fuck it, I want to come as well." And they basically were so good to like they got on the flight, like they got on there and managed to change everything. Like I got on the plane with them, they changed even down to the hotel. Like Robbie, I remember Robbie at the time was very much the main man on that trip. Like
Mhm.
he very much was calling America and doing all sorts. I mean, these were the days before we had like the WhatsApps and all this stuff. This is like 2000 and I mean, this was like 2012
It's
because yeah, this would have
2013.
yeah, this was like 2012. This was
Yeah,
like fall 2012 this stuff was going down. So
I think
yeah,
WrestleMania 29 was 2013.
that's
Was
correct. Yeah,
yeah, right, 2013. But yeah, we were I guess planning all through 2012. But Voxer, I don't know if you guys had Voxer in the. Did you guys use Voxer to
I
communicate?
remember the brand Voxer. I don't know if I've heard of Voxy. Voxer sounds familiar. I don't think I ever used it though. We
Okay,
used
it was like a
Skype was kind of
walkie-talkie almost before WhatsApp. It was like a
yeah,
walkie-talkie app. Yeah,
yeah. Skype was the one we used, and Uvu. We used to use Uvu a little bit as well.
nice.
Yeah,
So you saw that. So that's like your basically you saw everyone else's vlogs and it made you want to like be part of the magic,
yeah, man.
basically, to like sum it up. And then it's funny because you were 20 and that's how old I was for my first WrestleMania. I was 20 years old, about to turn 21 in 2011. And for me, it was since it was my third, it was like, to me, it was like I had to go. I was in New York. It's an hour and a half plane ride. I could have driven, but I went just to say, I feel like it would be stupid if I didn't go because it was so close at this point. And again, it was my first WrestleMania without Stephen Miguel. So it was a big switch up. And it was, to me, the reason it was so forgotten was because those guys weren't there. And it was really a chance for me to kind of do WrestleMania without the regular guys and the regular routines that we had. Not going alone was another thing. I'm going to save that for a different video. But I feel like WrestleMania should always be a boys' trip at the end of the day. And when you start bringing in other, other people that aren't maybe wrestling fans or maybe family members, whatever, it doesn't put a damper on it, but you can't do the same things. And
Yeah.
so this was more of a trip, not even a trip accompanied by a wrestling trip. And it was, I mean, it was fine. I mean, again, it wasn't, looking back on it, it wasn't a bad time. And even going back through these videos, it was great. I mean, first time in New York, I'm sure it was your first time in New York as well. And I think that was what the biggest thing was for a lot of people, was to see New York City for the first time. And it was okay. I mean, for me, I'll always come back to buying tickets because before WrestleMania even happened, there was so much drama, at least for me, going into it. And I don't remember the last time I told the story, but everyone saw the vlogs. They saw 27, 28, and everyone wanted to be part of 29, especially those East Coast guys, the guys who lived in New York, Philly, New Jersey, all in that area. So my original WrestleMania 29 group was about 9 guys.
Oh, wow.
And we were, 9 of us all decided that we were going to go all together. I'm like, no problem. I was gracious enough to buy everybody tickets, and they would all send me money afterwards. And the thing I don't think a lot of people considered is these tickets aren't cheap. And especially in New York City, New Jersey, they're going to be a little bit more expensive. And I believe for the seats we had, they were probably half the amount of what the floor seats were for WrestleMania 28 the year before. And that caught a lot of people off guard. So I literally went from having 9 people message them how much they owe me to like, oh shit, I didn't realize it was that much. Oh shit, I can't afford that. And then it just, one guy started bailing after the other.
Yeah.
So I went from 9 people to now 4 people. And 2 of them was myself and whoever I was going with. So you got 2 guys who were like down to go at the end of the day. And at that point, I was mad. And luckily, I would have been more mad if I didn't get my money back from Ticketmaster. Thankfully, that building, MetLife Stadium, does not have a no refund policy. So as soon as I bought them, I called them, I explained what happened, and they were able to refund me. So it worked out at the end of the day, but it was very, very telling to like know your limits with certain people and not to trust. I know it sounds like a shitty thing to say, but you can't trust anybody with money, especially when it comes to like $500 to $600. And people were so quick to bail out of it, full well knowing that I woke up at this time to like buy tickets.
Oh,
so
yeah, for sure.
I don't know how your buying ticket experience was, but I feel like you guys were talking, you guys were friendly, you guys were a lot more organized from the way you make it sound like when it comes to like Robbie calling America or Sean doing this and you doing this. So if I were to guess from what you told me, I'm assuming your ticket buying process was a lot more smoother than mine was.
Yeah, I remember it being, that is a good one. So from what I remember, I feel like we didn't do the package. I know that much. We didn't do the package because we did everything separately. Because I know like Sean had done the package for 27 and for 28. And I think when it came to 29, we went a separate, which was probably what made it easier to get me into the trip as well. Because I don't think by the point of when they were actually buying the tickets, it wasn't a case of like, oh, we've now got to try and get you to sit with us. They'd only decided on a hotel at that point and flight, or even I think they hadn't even booked the flight. It was quite like the information was. It was like I can't remember when those. I think from what I remember, the tickets went on sale around October. That was kind of like around the time around fall when Mania tickets used to drop. Was always around October time, and October November was when they drop, and that was kind of like the thing for a lot of years. But I think from what I remember, I feel like we got them we got them in a pre-sale because I know that tickets were actually flying out. And I remember Robbie and Sean were like, we've all got to get on a call because these tickets are starting to go. And this is the magic of having Skype at the time. And, you know, the days before you'd have like a Microsoft Teams pre-COVID era. But yeah, like we got on that Skype call, and everyone was just like in agreement to like where we're gonna sit. And I remember I was at the time, I was just happy to be there. Like I was just happy to be at WrestleMania. I was happy. I was going with my friends. I was going to New Jersey. I was going to New York. Like as far as I was concerned, I took a back seat with the trip. You know, I wasn't in any way, shape, or mind like, you know, putting out where I wanted to sit. I was just like, well, I'm going with guys that have been already. Like Robbie had been to 28, Sean had done 2. So I was like, I'll just happily go along and they'll know what's the best to do. And then I remember them like coming back and saying, yeah, we're going to be in the risers. And I was like, all right, we got riser seats then. And I can't remember how much they were. They might be like a couple of $100. They were, you know, and at the time, you know, obviously money has increased over the years and inflation. So they were a little bit of money, but they weren't like, I don't think they would be considered expensive now. They would be quite cheap if you were to look back at how money has grown over the years.
Sure.
Even looking at my my Hulk Hogan WrestleCon meet and greet ticket, I think I paid like $100 for it, which is wild when you look at how much Fanatics was charging for Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 40. They were like about $400 for just a photo and like photo op. Yeah,
that's crazy. Do you remember which hotel you stayed in?
Yes.
Was it in New York City or was it in New Jersey?
So we were staying in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. So we were staying more closer to the actual MetLife.
Okay.
We were quite close, I believe, to WrestleCon as well, because that was at Meadowlands.
It was.
And we actually stayed in a Red Roof Inn.
Oh, okay, nice. So I don't even remember what our hotel was called, but I booked everything through WrestleCon. So I was in one of the WrestleCon hotels.
Oh, nice.
Along, I believe, Trademark and Big Rat. I think they were in the same hotel. But because I was doing my own thing with the person I went with, we didn't really see each other too often. I did see them a couple of times, but there were times where like I was going out to do one thing and they were in like the lobby. But yeah, I was just curious. I don't think we ever met up like at the hotel like we've done in previous WrestleManias. If we were to hang out.
I believe our paths crossed once. You might not remember. So it was around the time. So we hung out a little bit on the first day with you.
That I remember. Yeah.
We went to the hockey game with Christian, and then we all rode back. I think there was you, Christian, Jade. We all rode back to that area. I think we went literally back to your hotel, and that's when Christian gave me his World Heavyweight Championship, which I think I gave him some money for it. Yeah, I still have that belt. So
nice.
Yeah.
So do we sit together for that hockey game? Because that was
no.
like going into Madison Square Garden also. I feel like that's like a big thing. That was for me, that was one of the things I was looking so forward to. We saw the New York Rangers versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. I still talk about this game. I was actually talking about it yesterday because that game was the first game after the trade deadline. So we saw Jerome McGinley, who's like a hockey legend. He went from one team to the other, and that was his first time on that team. So, you know, you may not know it, but it was a pretty monumental game. And
wow. Chris Jericho was at that game as well.
Chris Jericho was at the game, yeah. So it was great. It was a fun time, and to be in the Garden, it was like incredible just to walk through, and then you kind of went and saw like everything. And we were going for the Hall of Fame as well, but just to like see it in its non-wrestling form, and then the Rangers play there, the Knicks play there. It was just a great experience, and I think it's definitely like should be on every fan's bucket list to like at least go there, whether it be for wrestling or not, because they do have so much cool wrestling memorabilia all around that building.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they absolutely do, and obviously, like with watching the Hulk Hogan documentary just recently, you know, this just shows you right there his significance is there as well with a lot of Hogan stuff. So, Mr. MVP right there, Hulk Hogan.
So do we sit together at that hockey game? Remind me.
No.
We didn't,
so right? From what I remember so the day we saw you, that was actually a travel day for us. We landed in we flew out in the morning. So we left London in the morning and we got into I think it was JFK. We got in about what time would it have been? It was like early afternoon. So I want to say we were getting into that Red Roof Inn around 3:00, and then we were literally like unpacking our bags, and then we were like, right, we'll go to New York because we just was like, you want to get on, you want to do stuff. It's a trip. You've only got a certain amount of days in the country. And this was obviously like the most open free day we had because we hadn't got anything else planned. And, you know, I mean, a London to New York flight's not that long. It's about 5.5 to 6 hours. So it's pretty good. Like, time's on your side. So when you do get in, you get the 5 hours back. So as long as you're good and you've hydrated yourself, you're feeling okay enough on the, you know, to go and start doing some stuff. So yeah, we got a taxi into New York, and then because obviously Christian was going to be staying with us, and obviously Christian was with you, so we had a crew with Christian. So he was obviously at the MSG with you in the hockey, and then obviously that's where we would obviously meet you guys, and then we'd all obviously kind of stick together, go on the subway to get to New Jersey. And then I think there was a cab ride, and then obviously to your hotel, and we just kind of went from there to there, sort of thing. It was. I remember it being a really long day because I think like by the time I actually got to sleep, I think I'd been up like 20 hours. It was insane. It was crazy.
I feel like that's the cause for every first day of WrestleMania. You're so hyped to be there that like you don't even think about going to sleep. There's many times like New Orleans, Dallas, San Francisco, like. I'm up at 5 a.m. and I don't sleep until almost 3 a.m. the next, that next day. So I'm almost up for 24 hours, but you're just running on the excitement of being at WrestleMania and seeing your friends, and being in a different place, whatever. It's, sleep is definitely not, or at least at that time, it wasn't a priority at the time. You're there, you're on the go from the time you land to the time you go home. And there's very few hours of sleep in between.
Yeah, it's just go, go, go. It really is. It really is. It's insane. It was kind of wild. And when I went out and did my first Mania on my own, which was 38, I remember being up 24 hours. But just with that one, I was just trying to like take care of myself a little bit more from learning on earlier trips from like this one. I was trying to eat more as well and have meals when I was meant to have meals, not like just skip them and say fuck it, I want to go to a meet and greet.
100%. And that's one of the things I tell everyone is like you have to eat and you have to like stay hydrated. Those are like the two main things. So we've seen people, I don't know if you've seen, I've seen people pass out in lines at Access because like they've been standing so long, haven't eaten, hadn't drank water. It's you don't want to be that guy, but some people they just you forget, honestly, and you remember when it's like too late.
Yeah, for real, people forget. They'd rather have the new replica belt than
yeah. How was your day two? For me, it was very like pretty monumental to be honest. And but I don't know if you were there at the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels signing.
No, so that would have been the Thursday, if I'm right. That would have been the Thursday. Was that Access? Because I'm thinking.
No, it was not at Access. It was in Times Square.
Okay.
In the Grand Ballroom. It was some company, whatever. They just had a special event where they had Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart do a signing for the first time together. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I remember what I just talking a little bit about when we got off the plane. I'll just mention this because I just remember because obviously it was at the time where Ric Flair, obviously his son had passed away not that long before that trip, and we'd all got Ric Flair VIPs for Access, and obviously there was a big like question mark on what was going to happen, and then the news dropped that we were all going to be meeting the Undertaker. So it really,
I do remember that. Yeah, I actually remember that.
That all went really well, and that was Thursday. So, I feel like because my memory from my vlogs, I think we were there obviously that travel day, and then our first day was the first introduction to the Superstore because that was right next to MetLife, and that's where Santino Marella was doing a signing, and I believe Zack Ryder was doing one as well, like later on into like the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
They did a few other things. I know Sean and Christian and Liam actually went off to the airport because they somehow were able to get Shawn Michaels' flight information and met him, which was pretty wild. So they did very well. I mean, you got to meet Austin the year after, I think.
No, I know. I know.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
So you did Access, you're saying?
Yeah. That first day, our first big day after traveling, was Access. Yeah. So a lot of them were like sleeping in and stuff, and it was actually me, Sean, and Robbie. We all got up. We were like hyped. In fact, me and Robbie got up first. We were like, man, and I knew Robbie at the time was a huge Santino mark, and he was like, fuck, I really want to meet Santino. And so we took a cab and went to the area, obviously, where the Superstore was, MetLife, and obviously Izod, so all around that area. And then obviously Sean would be there as well. Like he was like, man, I just wanted to get up and get out and see everything, you know. So I remember us getting breakfast, and we went and ate like at a little diner around that area, and then we were like just exploring. Like obviously access wasn't opening up till like the afternoon into the evening, but it was just like to be them first few fans in that sort of environment. Like there was nobody else around. Like you got to realize this was like early morning. This was like maybe 8-9 a.m. and we were up. We were just buzzing. We just wanted to be up doing stuff. And then I remember us like actually we were like first couple guys in the queue for the Superstore. Like this was like the first time they ever did a Superstore.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And yeah, it was crazy. And then we just remember like I was just want to meet any wrestler I could. I mean, I was a young kid at the time. I'd not met many wrestlers. I mean, I'd met the odd one that would come to England, but to just be like meeting guys like one after the other, it felt like it was like, damn. So we were all over that Santino Marella thing. That was like the first thing we did. And then obviously then it was Zack Ryder in the afternoon. And then on to Access with a load of merch that we just bought at the Superstore. So it kind of got a little heavy.
It did. So two things. So isn't it crazy to see how far Access, not even Access, the Superstore has come from like that Superstore was just like the New York Giants, their fan store. They just made that into like a WrestleMania shop. And to see what WWE World and like the Superstore has become now, it's basically like a Walmart at this point, where you can go in and you've been like, you saw how big it is. Like, I'm just kind of thinking now because you went on Thursday, you're saying, so I would have went the day after because JR was doing a signing.
That's right.
Right. And was it okay? Yeah. So I went the day after, and same thing like you. I was there early morning because that's what I was used to from 27 and 28 WrestleMania, where if you want to meet a guy, you have to be the first in line. So even though the signing started at 11 a.m. or 12 a.m., I was there at 8 or 9. I was the first person in line. It was bright and early, and I wasn't even the first person in line. Funny enough, there were still people there that we knew, and that's what WrestleMania was. It was just waking up, going to the signings, and just doing whatever you can to meet whoever you can.
Yeah,
and yeah, but the one thing I wanted to ask you, that this is, I don't think a lot of people had a chance to experience this, was Access in an actual building. So 27, they had Access in like a convention, like a whatever hall. 28 was the same thing, but 29, they switched things up by having Access in the Meadowlands where Raw was going to be, where, just Raw, I guess, right?
Yeah.
They already had the ring set up in the middle, and basically the concourse area and like the sections, right? They're like, oh yeah, you have 3MB signing in section 201. Like you go there, go to 201. They have a table set up and you just line up in like the queue, like where you sit. That was the line. So that was cool that you could sit while you wait in line. We did row by row.
Yeah.
On one hand, it was very organized because you knew like this is how many people are before you, and you kind of could gauge how much like time was going to happen. But on one hand, it was kind of weird because I'm like, here I am. Like you walk around the whole building, and it's like, oh look, there's Harley Race, and you just walk a little bit more, and then they have like a couple statues there you can take pictures of.
Yeah.
And then you walk a little bit more around the building, and then you see Mil Mascaras just randomly, right? And it's just the most random like thing and the most random setup. It was cool. It was unique, but I can see why they never went back to it because although it's the real estate you have is a lot more, you're kind of really constricted when it comes to like the seats being there.
Yeah.
But what did you think?
Yeah, well, you see, it's funny because obviously this was my first ever experience with Access. So I'd only ever seen like how the other way was in a convention hall through vlogs or through people's like photos if I was friends with them on social media. So obviously it was Access, but it was obviously in a different kind of environment, like in an arena where you would expect to just be sitting down for a show. But that kind of just saying that, like to sit down for a show, like it was pretty good because like even down to like some queues, you could sit in the seats while you were queuing. And I remember like I think NXT was on, or it was FC. No, it might not have been NXT.
They did have stuff. Yeah, I forgot all about that. They did have stuff going on the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, FCW was going on in the ring. Like I remember, like I think even Byron Saxton was maybe doing the announcing, and like you could watch matches while you wait to meet wrestlers. So you know they've always kind of kept that kind of concept, and I think that like with WWE World, they've kind of still kind of kept that, but you know, it's. I mean, that's another video and another story, but that shit's way too premiumized for me now.
So I haven't been, but I'm sure you're like an expert to like speak on that. But I've heard very similar things where it's just become so commercialized and it doesn't feel like an Access would.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I remember like with that Access, and that was the first Access. Obviously, that first session having the Undertaker VIP meant we got in early. So we got in early, so we got in a bit before General. I don't know if it was like maybe an hour early or 30 minutes. It was an early perk that we got, but we got in early so we could obviously go straight in, join a queue. And I remember I think the first two guys we met was Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter. Like it was pretty awesome. Like the first like literally two guys we met at the time, and they were like right at the time. I think they were like world champ. Like Swagger was the world champ at the time because like, he fought Del Rio and at that Mania. But yeah, we met them, and we also met Cesaro. Like we got really good, strong, like three guys in the first like maybe out 45 minutes we were in there. Yeah, we met Cesaro as well.
Crazy.
Really cool.
I'm sure your highlight from that Access is meeting the Undertaker.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that was
how was that? I think everyone has their story just growing up watching them and having to actually like meet them. Like, how was that experience?
You know, that experience was something else. Because obviously at the time as well, we didn't know we were meeting him till we got into the country. So I wasn't prepared. I'd got nothing on me. I'd even brought like the Flair figure with me because I was like, well, maybe there's a chance Flair might still do the signing. Like I didn't really think about it. And then obviously then they were like, oh yeah, Taker's doing it. So I remember buying the old Big Eagle belt, you know, the WWE. Well, it said WWE.
The Winged Eagle.
Yeah. I bought that, and I was like, man, that was a badass sign. So that's what I took, and
You bought a replica belt at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was like, man, I should spend on that thing.
You weren't kidding about the money coming in, brother.
Oh, dude, it was again. It was first Mania, and I think at the time I was like, man, if I never do this again, at least I got a belt and I got to meet the Undertaker. That was kind of like what I was going with, and I was kind of going back with the whole, well, if this is it. It's been a good one, and then 5 more followed in other years. But yeah, regarding Taker, man, he was great. He was humbled. You know, I think he was humbled. I think he probably knew I was a young lad that was just very, like, because everyone was saying like, Ollie's gonna cry, and I was just like trying to get all my words out because I was just so like stunned and like, oh my god, it's like you're the man. Like I was just freaking trying to get it all. He's just like, oh, thank you, man, thank you, I appreciate that. Like you just giving that to me, and I'm just like, oh man, I've been like big fan, you and Austin and blah blah blah, and like just being a fangirl. Like I really couldn't keep it going, dude.
I feel like every fan's the same way because even when I met him, and even before that, the whole story with me is, you know, the getting that Undertaker ticket from WrestleMania 27, 28, 29, 30.
Yeah,
those 4 years. I don't remember if he did a signing at 31, but yeah, he didn't because he had just returned. He was gone for a while. So those 4 years, it was not impossible, but it was very, very, very hard to get an Undertaker ticket. And we tried. A lot of people tried. A lot of people failed. And at that time, they would cap it off to about 150. I think they would release tickets. So it wasn't like too many. And whenever they would release those premium VIPs, we would be there. We'd be refreshing our page, and as soon as it came on, you were lucky to get it if you weren't. I was not lucky enough to get one, but Phil Nightmare 10 was, you know, to this day, right? I owe him so much just for like giving me that ticket for face value, and all he asked was if he could stay with us for a couple nights at our hotel room. I'm like, buddy, no problem. I stayed a whole weekend. So I care. Like, yeah, no problem. Doors open. For an Undertaker ticket, and I had my Undertaker 1 of 100, but just an unreal experience, and that's like. There's probably a list of guys I can count maybe on one hand that I will like remember for the rest of my life. Maybe two hands. There's been a few, but like Undertaker, just like you said, I was fangirling, and I said the exact same thing you said, where it's like you were my childhood, you know, growing up. Talked about how Austin and him, SummerSlam 98 was like the epitome, just the peak of my childhood.
Yeah,
man. And he's there. I'm sure he heard it from the 200 other people that signed before me. And he's just signing the figure, and he's like, "Good times, my brother." And then he just like gave it. I'm like, "Good God!"
I just remember like and just saying about how hard they were, and like the secondary market for Taker meats was ridiculous on eBay. I think they were like $1,000. Like it was like £1,000, or even probably more in dollars, like £1,000 for an Undertaker VIP.
Crazy.
Insane.
And you knew if you had it, it was like a golden ticket. And for those of you who were able to like meet Undertaker, you realize like how lucky you really were, because there's people who were like, you know.
Well, shout out to Christian, because I remember he bought a Flair VIP on eBay, and I think he bought it for cheap because whoever was obviously selling it realized that he was probably not going to be at Mania because it happened. So Christian just bought it. He was like, "Oh fuck it, I'll buy it." And then he pulled out a Taker. He paid like very cheap for this ticket on eBay, and then he got like what he got. He was like, "Damn!" Like
I'm sure I heard that story, but that's crazy to even think about. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So to the next day, I remember was WrestleCon, and I don't know if it wasn't the first year. Obviously, there was WrestleCon, and then there's Wrestle Reunion. So I think this was the first WrestleCon they did, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, this WrestleCon was stacked. Like to this day, probably the most stacked wrestling convention I've ever been to, even more than the year before at WrestleMania 28, which I thought was incredible. New York City is, you know, it's wrestling. It's the capital of professional wrestling. And for me, and this was Saturday, so this would have been Saturday morning.
Oh wait, Ravi, before you get in, what about Friday? You did Ring of Honor, right, on the Friday?
Honestly, if I did, I don't remember. Remind me about Ring of Honor.
Wasn't it? It was Jay Briscoe, Jay and Kevin Steen main event, Manhattan Center.
I did not do that, actually.
Did you not? Oh,
I did not. No, so I'd never been to the Manhattan Center.
Oh man,
that's why I didn't do it. Yeah, wow. So I guess you went. Tell me about it. ECW.
It was good. I remember us like rushing through New York traffic because we just came back from the Caitlyn meet and greet. Like I say, we were doing them all, man.
Caitlyn.
Boss,
You meant Caitlyn?
Celeste Bonin, as known now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And we did those two signings, and then we were just like rushing back to get like another thing. Like at the time, I'll mention now, like I remember how the pound was so strong to the dollar at the time, like it was nearly like double. So even to like buy merch at the superstore, like we were just going in and like buying whatever because we were like,
yeah, no problem, man.
Dude, everything. Big bags of merch, like hoodies and teddy bears and freaking t-shirts, everything. But talk about nice. Please.
WrestleCon, like I was saying, I met Hulk Hogan and I met Ultimate Warrior in the same day. That honestly, like I was signing, and then I'm like, oh look, Warrior's right over there. I think you filmed me meeting. Did you not? I feel like you filmed me meeting somebody. It might have been the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, I feel like because was it? Maybe it was somebody. I know I've helped you film somebody.
I think it was. I'm pretty certain it was the Ultimate Warrior. And like, even that footage came out. Like looking back, obviously of what happened, it's like that stuff. So that's golden footage. You know, honestly. And it was so rare to meet Ultimate Warrior at the time, and meeting him was like he was so nice. And I've only heard great stories because he's done a few signings on the West Coast at the time. I remember Miguel had met him. And he said he was the nicest guy. He got things signed, whatever. But yeah, just WrestleCon, like even to this day, like I think they announced it's called the Big Event in New York City, and they have like a stacked every single guy you can think of. Even Batista got announced. So now I'm thinking November. Big Dave is going to be doing a signing in November.
Going?
And I am very close to thinking about wanting to go because I'm like, you know,
go.
I'm not. I think it's worth going to.
It is worth going to. I want to see the vlog.
Yeah, you want to see me cry? You were smart. You hugged Hogan when you met him.
I did.
That's like you knew. Like, you know, you're smart, and I kind of wish I would have done that to at least like Austin. Yeah, I feel like he would have hugged me back.
I gave Austin a hug. If you saw the video, I gave Austin a little.
You gave Austin and Hogan a hug?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Very lovable.
Very lovable guy. Who did you meet at WrestleCon? Any notable people that kind of stick out in your mind?
Well, that's Saturday, so yeah, when we got to WrestleCon, Hogan obviously was doing the Saturday. He was the big headline guest, and just going back on like how cheap that ticket was for the Hulk Hogan experience. This was one signed autograph. Like no restriction on a hard like a big item like this bullshit now where you have to pay extra figures and stuff. This was just whatever you want. I remember getting the magazine, the NWO WCW magazine. I got that signed and a nice photo on a digital camera, and it was like $100. And I was happy. I was really happy with that. And we could join that queue whenever we wanted because they were doing that pretty much. It was prepaid, so as long as you got your ticket, you just showed it them and you were good. I remember we had to go pick those up from Will Call when we got in there. But other notable names that I met at WrestleCon on that Saturday, I met Maria. I remember meeting Maria Kanellis. She was there. And I remember getting one of her old WWE magazines, the one from like 06, where it's like a gray magazine shoot that she did.
Mm-hmm.
I remember meeting RVD. I remember getting him. He was like a really big deal at the time because I was like a huge Rob Van Dam fan. And I know obviously at this point, I don't think he was in WWE. So obviously that's why he was doing all of this indie WrestleCon stuff. But I remember getting him and him doing a little promo for my YouTube channel, which would show up on a few intro videos, but that was cool at the time. Who else did I get? I got Virgil, although everyone says
everyone's got Virgil.
Everyone said you could have hustled Virgil some more. I think I paid like $15 for Virgil, and everyone was like, you were too high, you could have got him down to maybe $5. I was like, yeah, but I was kind of like, how low did you want to go? The guy was just making a living, so I got $15. Colt Cabana, I remember meeting Colt. He was there, and I remember Colt being kind of like, I had such high expectations meeting Colt Cabana because I always thought, man, this guy is like so nice and friendly and chirpy on his Art of Wrestling podcast. And then when I met him, I was a little bit like surprised. He seemed a bit like kind of a little bit douchey, he just came off a little bit like standoffish. Like he was only interested if I was buying something on his table. And once I bought something, he was like, the conversation almost felt like, right, moving on. Like, does that make sense to you?
It does, absolutely. I don't know if you remember, but Liam, your buddy, got into an argument with him. Do you remember this? Yeah. So they actually ended up getting into some bullshit.
I've heard this from Liam, but I've heard it a bit from Liam. But if you were there, I'd love to hear your take on it.
I wasn't there. I just remember Liam telling me after that he's a piece of shit, and I think he didn't say he spat on him, but he did something where he threw something on his table. But they got into like a heated thing, and Liam ended up getting kicked out of WrestleCon, which is where I saw him outside. And he was, Liam is a hothead.
Oh, and Liam got kicked out of WrestleCon.
He did. That's when I found out that this is what happened. They kicked him out of WrestleCon because like he did something to Colt's table, where he had to call security and get him removed.
That is crazy. I had no idea that was a thing.
And
that's like, wow.
Yeah, and I feel like I might have recorded like his reaction because it's all kind of coming back. But I remember videotaping him after his little rant about Colt Cabana. I didn't add it in my vlog, but it's somewhere in the archives. But I do have like his initial reaction after like going off on Colt Cabana. But I did meet him as well, and I got the headband, and I feel like everyone from like that time, maybe 2012, 13, 14, when the art of wrestling was like on fire. I feel like every fan's kind of had to go meet Colt Cabana because he was doing his $5 promotions at the time. So you can get like an 8x10 or like a pitcher for $5, which is like insanely cheap compared to what everyone else was doing. Those are Virgil prices at that point.
Yeah.
And I think Colt Cabana was on there. I remember when I went, it was like Carlito, RVD. Funny enough, I didn't want to meet him, but the guy who was running his booth was a big Assault and Battery fan. So he's like, "Hey, like, you want to meet RVD?" And I'm like, "I'm sure." He's like, "Yeah, come, whatever." He signed an 8x10 for me, and I'm like, "Perfect." I had to pay for it. So those perks, the perks of being a YouTuber at that time.
Yeah.
And then Lita, I met Lita. That was a crazy experience, but
yeah,
again, that WrestleCon was topped off. Like for me, it was like Hogan and Warrior, and I got that 2-pack from WrestleMania 6. I have it like hanging up on my wall right here, and it was crazy.
Yeah,
great time.
Nah, it's great.
And then Hall of Fame it's funny because I'm sure you know what I'm going to bring up if you're if you remember.
Oh, the limos?
The limos, yes.
Yeah.
So Sean Blackford, I don't know if it was Sean Blackford, but it came out of Sean Blackford's mouth a lot that, hey guys, we're all gonna go to Hall of Fame together, and we have a limo. So it's gonna meet us at our hotel. We're gonna style and profile, like he said. We're gonna show up like superstars. Yeah. And I'm excited. You know, we all suited up. Like at the time, you're going to the Hall of Fame. You're going to Madison Square Garden. You have to wear a suit. So we put on our best outfits, whatever. Where's the limos? What happened to the limos? No limos.
I just don't know what. You know what? And it's funny you bring that up because this is like the first time I remember this now, bringing this back up. I believe Rob booked the limos, and I just don't know whether they just fucking didn't come. Nothing that was like it was a pay on arrival kind of deal. So there was definitely, the limo company fucked up or something. And, because I remember, I think Rob booked, I can't remember whether they were like white limos or black limos, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like he booked something and then they never like turned up. And I think it was the limo company that had ballsed up at the time. And then I don't know if like, did you guys get a cab or something?
No, we did not get a cab. So we all ended up going to the train station, whatever, Penn Station.
Yeah,
We ended up taking the train like a
that's
bunch of
right.
jobbers.
Yes, we were that's right. I think at the time, who was it? I think me, Rob, and Christian were on one train, and then it was like you, Jay, Sean,
and maybe Robbie.
Liam, I think.
Yeah, Liam probably, yeah.
You guys on another. So yeah, it was a little bit of a kerfuffle, but yeah.
To this day, I am fully convinced. I mean, maybe you can like confirm this. I don't think any limos were booked. I think you guys called us. I think Sean just did something to like work it. He threw himself. So you can confirm that limos were booked and they didn't show up.
100%. The limos were definitely booked. In fact, I remember being on a Skype call when they were talking about it. And then I even remember like the first day at Red Roof Inn, like them just bringing it up saying, those limos all good. Yeah. Like this one, like some like rib to kind of fuck you over, like for real. Like they were legitimately meant to be coming. So I honestly think it was just like, it could have been a delay. I mean, this is a long time ago.
It wasn't a delay because we were like waiting almost half an hour to the point. I think we either made it to the Hall of Fame just on time or we were a little bit late. But I remember we were really cutting it close for that Hall of Fame.
Cutting it close, absolutely. Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah,
I'm glad you could. Yeah. Oh, I remember. I remember.
Yeah. Nah. Good, man.
So what do you think? So now we're on WrestleMania Day, and obviously it's your first WrestleMania. I'm sure you're excited from like Sunday morning. Did you do anything Sunday morning before the actual show?
Yeah. I went back to WrestleCon.
Okay, so did I.
Met Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Met Ultimate Warrior because that was his big day.
So it was Warrior one day, Hogan the other day?
Yeah, Warrior was on the Sunday and Hogan was on Saturday.
I thought they were in the same day. Okay, so 2 different days.
Yeah, and I remember like just going back to pricing, I remember like Warrior being really, really affordable as well. Like I think he was. I mean, seriously, like this is something me and Sean talk about to this day. Like fans will never ever know how lucky us guys were back in the day when it came to like paying to meet wrestlers. Like we were never paying like $300-400. I mean, right now, yeah, if you were going to go now and do it, but like back in those days, I think the Warrior stuff was like, I think I paid like $75 to meet Warrior. That was ridiculously cheap at the time for like a one autograph and a photo. It was like 75. It was around $75-80 from what I remember. It was cheap, and I remember so nice, and like I remember him just talking about like the young guys and the young kid. I think he mentioned Triple H from what I remember. I don't have the video footage of meeting him, but like from what I remember, him just being super nice and like, yeah, Triple H, he's got a lot of faith in those guys, those are in Orlando, yeah, he's big on those guys, like, and Warrior was just like, and I just remember like that at the time, and him just like being really nice, and he wrote "Always Believe" on my magazine.
Nice.
Yeah, man, it was cool. It was just a shame he passed the year after. And then I remember we got out of WrestleCon and we were like, well, we still have access tickets, so we went over to we went back to Access. It was a Sunday afternoon session, but I had such a lot of fun that Sunday afternoon because it was so dead because everybody was going to Mania. So I remember us getting over there. The queues were really small. And I think, like, I can't remember if Robbie and Sean stayed for a little bit and they were like, we're going to go over to Mania. If you're going to hang here and do whatever you want to do, Wally, that's fine. And that was kind of nice for me because no offense to being in a group, but just having, like, an afternoon to myself to kind of just introvert out a little bit and, do a bit on my own was also really cool. Like, I got Yeah, I mean, I like solo stuff. You know, I'm always been like a bit of a loner, but I do the group stuff, the solo stuff. But I met who did I meet that afternoon? I met Terry Funk, which was fantastic. I got Terry Funk. I met Rikishi. I met Mil Mascaras. I met Larry Zbyszko, who at the time I knew him very more for like WCW. And I met, who else did I get? I got Bo Dallas. He had like no cue.
Nobody, yeah.
He was one of these like just no cue. And then I remember like I met Alicia Fox was doing like one of these pro photos you could have. Like I went and met her. And I think the big mark out of that was, I think if I remember rightly, Christian was there, but he was he had like a really big queue and they cut his line off. And I was so pissed because I was like, oh man, Christian was there. And I was a huge like Edge and Christian guy at the time. And then I remember like really just hanging around as long as I could until they were really winding down access. Like you could tell they were closing it down. And Christian walks out and he's got his like full suit on. This guy looks $1 million. And he's walking through the concourse. And I just literally started to follow him with a load of other fans who were unfortunately not able to get into his signing block. And I just remember going up to him and be like, oh, can I please get a quick picture? And he was like, yeah, sure, man. And he was just really quick. And it was just a quick picture. And it's, I mean, I have the photo and it's just
Nice.
a moving, blurry shot. Not over blurry. Like you can see it's him and me, but it was just like a big mark out moment. And I remember I included it in the vlog, like with the like freaking theme music. His TNA theme was hype, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
great.
how was it like seeing the WrestleMania stage for the first time? I feel like that's
Oh,
one
man.
thing everyone loves.
Yeah.
Even well to this day, it doesn't matter if it's your first Mania or like you've been to 6 or 7. How many? 6, 7? How many WrestleManias you've been to?
Kids love that shit.
How was like seeing that stage?
Oh man, and it's funny. So I was really lucky that I didn't look at any like YouTube or Vince's reveal or anything. Like the first time I got to go in and see Mania's stage was in person, and that was super cool. I mean, to go in there and see the Statue of Liberty, how it was all set out, and I've got it on like some of my old photos of like standing in front of it with Sean and Rob and just like thinking, wow, this is incredible. Like just I was in awe of it, man. Like it was just to be there. I was a little choked up at the time thinking,
Trust me, man, it gets you. I know
man.
people laugh, but yeah, it chokes you up sometimes a little bit.
It does. I hate to say it, but I get a little choked up when I go into like Disney World, if you go to Disney, you get a little choked up because that's meant to be the happiest place on earth. But like WrestleMania, man, that was like emotional because I was like, damn, I'm 20 years old. I'm out here with my friends. This felt like a journey and a journey that had been completed in the sense of here we are, and I'm about to watch John Cena and The Rock. Like I was watching it at my buddy's house in Sheffield the year prior, watching 28, thinking, damn, like all them guys are out there having a blast in Miami, and I'm here in little Sheffield watching this on sleepover. And then here I am the year after, like, man, I'm here. This is freaking fire, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
So as someone from England, well, maybe you're kind of maybe you're used to it, but like, how was it going to? You've been to WrestleManias indoor, outdoor. So how was it like going? How would you compare an indoor WrestleMania to an outdoor? Considering that was your first one as well.
Yeah.
Talk about the outdoor because I hated it. I couldn't stand it. Looking back, I'm like, what a miserable.
I will say, yeah, you know what? I will say this now, and this I'm glad you bring this up. So I've been at outdoor and indoor manias, and talking about a more recent outdoor mania, very similar to New Jersey, was the one in Philadelphia. And obviously with WrestleMania 40 being at the Lincoln Field, I remember that being ridiculously cold and very close to like what I remember being 8 hours in MetLife Stadium was. It was an 8-hour stick. It felt like a 7-8 hour stick. And I remember by the end of that, more like Rock and Cena and Brock and Triple H wrestled, I believe, on that show. Like, I just remember being like, I think how cold it was getting. your energy starts to drain. And I remember the same thing at 40 on night one, because everyone was like on Twitter saying, oh man, the crowd's so shit because because it's cold as hell. Like,
Yeah.
wants to cheer because we're so cold. Like, we're just there. And it was kind of, I mean, I just remember kind of 29 being quite cold, dark, they got the no roof, but I remember there being the firework display, and didn't Diddy perform? I feel like
He did.
yeah,
When we saw P. Diddy perform.
yeah, we saw P. Diddy. Oh,
Also, I don't know if you remember, but there was a little bit of a rain delay. Do you remember it started raining at the beginning during the pre-show, and everyone thought there was going to be maybe like a delay to the show, but it actually just ended up. It was supposed to be some storm or whatever, but it passed through.
yeah.
But there was a little bit of rain.
Remember that? Yeah, it was. I just remember that Mania just being incredibly like just the first one. I mean, I mean, our view was at the time we were on a corner, so we had a little bit of a restricted view, but that was more down to like WWE's production having. They had like a canopy or like a New York Tower kind of thing, kind of as a canopy around the ring, and but I didn't care, man. It was like just being there, just to say I was at WrestleMania was all I needed. I didn't need it be the full view. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've worked on that in the other years when I'd go again, but like just being in that environment, being in that energy, and just for the first time seeing like just everything down to like the pyro, the theme songs, the entrances, how you would see a promo video, like how we watch a promo video on TV, and then we're watching the promo video in the stadium on the TV screen, because that's what they're showing on the broadcast, and we're watching.
Right.
Incredible, like that whole sort of vibe. Like, I remember Cena. There was one thing I remember from that Mania was like, didn't they have like an "All We Have Is Right"? All we have is right now. John Cena's freaking hype package when he was training in the gym.
Okay, I remember
that. Machine Gun Kelly had this "All We Had Is Right Now" piece, and he was. It was like showing Cena training, like he's got to have this match with The Rock. It was like, oh man, it was badass, man. I remember it was hype.
And just to see how you like light up talking about your first WrestleMania, that's how I am with 27. People shit on it all the time, and even I shit on it a little bit too. But it'll always hold that special place in my heart because like I was almost so innocent to WrestleMania itself, where I was just so happy to be there.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if it was like, you saw Jerry Lawler versus Michael Cole or whatever. It was, I mean, the 27 card wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't the greatest. You saw the Miz, whatever, but it's like your first one, like you'll always remember. You'll remember walking in, you'll remember seeing the stage, you remember the main event, you remember all these little things that like no one else will remember. But because it was like, and for you, it set the stage for like how many ever WrestleManias you would go to after that. If it wasn't for that one and the experience you had, it could have been a shitty time for you. You probably would not have went to another one after that. But it's crazy how like far like you've been to more manias than I have now. I think.
No way.
Right? I've been to 7.
I've been a 6. I've done.
Okay, 6. So you're one behind. Yeah. So I've been to 7. So but then again, like there's people who like we watch like that watch me like they're at like 10 or 11. I'm like, damn, like it's good, it's crazy, very good for you. But it makes me like miss going. Like you got to go to Philadelphia. I think you went to the one before that as well in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Did you go to that one? Yeah.
I did.
So like you've been to quite a binge.
Yeah, man. So I did 29 and 30 in New Orleans, and then I had a break for a long while. Life just kind of developed a bit. Then I got to a newer job where I was a bit more financially able to start doing a few more. And this was now like around post-COVID time. And the opportunity kind of came along. It was Texas, and I did 38. And then I did that. I loved the hell out of it. That was the last year they had a travel package through WWE. Mm-hmm. Or On Location kind of came along and ruined it. And then I did 38. Got to see Cody come back. Saw Triple H put the boots in the ring.
Wow.
Baker retire. Then obviously we got the whole Brock Roman. Saw Roman, pretty much that whole Roman thing from there was on that Mania. I saw Stone Cold wrestling his last.
Oh yeah, crazy. There you go. That's
probably
something.
One of the Manias. That was a great Mania. Like 38 as well. Like that first solo Mania I did was up there as well for like big things. And then obviously 39, 40, and then 41, which was a bit probably not as good as the other ones. I felt like 41 was a little bit like lost a bit of steam. And I think that was more down to like the ownership, the TKO, and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah. So Monday for WrestleMania 29, I think, I don't know what you did before, but we kind of explored the city, New York City. We went to the World Trade Center. But a lot of that stuff, basically what we didn't get to do throughout the week, because we did spend a lot of time in Times Square. So by that time, I think I'd already seen Times Square 2 or 3 times. But now it was like the World Trade Center and then just other touristy things that you normally do. But for wrestling wise, do you remember Fandango Mania? That was I
Oh
feel like
yeah,
that kind of took over Raw.
that
And Dolph Ziggler cashed in, and one of the better Raws after Manias, I think. And I think that was when I want to say that's when kind of it started off. The fans took over the show, because after that Raw, that's when it became a thing. Like the Raw after Mania was like this crazy, almost like a party after
yeah.
WrestleMania. And yeah, I mean, talk about it a little bit. Like, what did you think? And it's funny enough, because I actually got a picture with Roman, because it was the Shield, so they were coming down through the like where these come through crowd, and I'm there. I'm like, took a selfie with Roman in the back, so that was like another one of those highlights. But
That's wild.
it
Yeah.
was yeah, just crazy to think that it's that long ago, and look how much WWE's changed in that time.
Changed
And
a lot. It really has.
it has.
I remember just briefly mention about that Monday morning actually, before we went to Raw. So at this point, this is kind of like where I had my first encounter of Mania Blues, and I hadn't even left the freaking country yet. I mean, I just had WrestleMania, and I was like, damn, like I may never go again, and I was just feeling it a little bit. But at the time, I mean, I got memories because I had ended up being really lucky and got a WrestleMania 29 chair, which I got outside the MetLife after the show. I think I bought one off a guy for like $100, which is crazy because you wouldn't get like secondary market ringside chairs don't range at like $100 anymore, man. Like not for the current stuff. You're looking at anything from $300, pretty much minimum price now.
Yeah.
Anything like that. So yeah, I got the Mania 29 chair. I still have it. It's upstairs, but yeah, I got that chair, and who got one? I got one.
Sean probably got
one, and I want to say Rob got one. I want to say we all got one. And
Sean bought my WrestleMania 28 chair. Funny enough.
Oh, he did? Yes,
he did.
I remember this. Yes. But yeah, so what we did that day, we went to Times Square because we needed to get some bubble wrap. We needed some shrink wrap to wrap the chairs. That was kind of like the thing to do. I mean, we only got a certain amount of time left to do that. So we went to I think we went to like a Kmart or somewhere that supplied this stuff. And we got bubble wrap and tape and just brought it all back to the room and wrapped those chairs up. They were ready to go to take back to England, and then we went to Raw, and that was kind of what Monday was all about. It was just making sure we were ready to be prepared to be leaving the day after, but obviously still have Raw to look forward to. But I think I remember you said on a video, you know, Raw is like that Monday. It's just such a weird day, isn't it? Like like
when you said Mania Blues, I'm like, oh yeah, like that's. I feel like I feel like it's like should make like a whole video just on the Mania Blues, because I don't think you understand that it's like a real thing. That like as soon as Mania is done, the next day you wake up and you're either going home, which is like, I feel like if you're gonna end the trip, you kind of end it on that high note of WrestleMania, but you don't want to leave.
Yeah.
But then if you're there, you're like, oh shit, like I gotta go home tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It is very rough, but I'm telling you, when you get home and then you're kind of sitting and you're like, damn, like, you know, a few days ago I was in New York, or I was in Las Vegas, or I was here, and it's like now I'm sitting here, back at work. It's a shitty feeling.
It is. It really is, and especially when you just don't, even down to like when you don't get to do everything you wanted to do, or you forget to do something, and then you're literally at home. This shit happened to me last year with Vegas in 41, and I remember like doing everything I wanted to do, and then I got back, and then I was like, oh wait, I was gonna go and do something like I was gonna go check out the Vegas Mall. Oh shit, I can't do it now. I'm back in England. Damn, like it just slipped over my mind. Like I just forgot to do it. It was so it happens, man. Like And especially because like it's going to be a long time before you can go again if you have got to like build and save and grind and all the rest of it. It's just yeah.
It's funny you say that because this is completely like not even in the same hemisphere of like what you forgot to do. So in Dallas, so at that time, WrestleMania 32 time, I was a big Drake fan. Still am to this day, but like at that time, I was like peak, like OVO. I was all about Drake, whatever.
Yeah.
Drake has a song called 9 a.m. in Dallas. And the whole time I was telling myself, at some point, I have to wake up at 9 o'clock. I have to take a picture of the clock. And I can put on Snapchat. I can put my location on. And I can be like 9 a.m. in Dallas. And I remember I didn't do it. And all of a sudden I'm driving and I'm thinking, and that song comes on. And I literally yelled, fuck, at the top of my lungs. I forgot to do.
That's great.
I'm like, damn it. I haven't been back to Dallas since then. But just funny you said that because I feel like, yeah, there's always things even with like my group, Steve Miguel and all, we would have things we want to do and we try doing everything we can. But the weekend is so filled with like so much stuff. It's not, and you really have to be organized. You really have to prioritize what you want to do and what not to do. And sure, some things you're going to leave out. Sure, some things are going to come up that like you didn't plan. But I think as long as I feel like everyone's on like a mutual ground, like, hey, let's all go to Access today. Let's all go to WrestleCon today. And at that time, for a few years actually, wherever we would all go, when one guy wants to go, all of us would go.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I want to say WrestleMania 32. So WrestleMania 32 and 34 were the 2 years where we decided to do things on our own, whether it be like, I remember there was one Access at 32. I went by myself. And that was the first time I've ever like really done WrestleMania alone. There was times where, I wanted to go to like an Evolve show and I went with guys like the Boston Brothers and Miguel and Steve and Gemini. They went to the Von Erich's where the Sportatorium was. They went to go see like the land that it was on. So it was just like we were kind of doing our own things for a while, but yeah, it's as long as everyone's on a mutual thing, things get missed. You forget to do things, whatever. But I feel like WrestleMania has always been about being with your friends. Like look how many friends that you've made. Different countries within England. Me, same thing. And that's what I feel like WrestleMania is all about. And I feel like you've experienced that. Being the 6 WrestleManias. Me, I never would have imagined, right? From starting from WrestleMania 27, that I would have been like 27, 28, 29, 30, whatever. And everyone's looking forward to that one last one, right? Everyone, I feel like it's coming soon. And I feel like if WrestleMania Saudi wasn't a thing next year, I feel like next year would have been that perfect opportunity. With Las Vegas, I think kind of being in the past now, I think WWE has awakening of like their ticket prices are too high. And I feel like, I hope, honestly, I don't feel like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I hope they kind of learn from it where you got to make it affordable for everyone to go.
Oh, 100%, man. They really do. I mean, they're gonna struggle, but at the same time, you hear a lot of conflicting information. It's like, does TKO really care? It's like, are they more bothered about just having less seats sold but at a higher price over having that higher gate of we sold this amount of people, but down to like those high gates but lower numbers, it kind of like balances it out maybe in their checkbook. But like I would say, like for me, I'll never say I'm done. I think I'm just having a bit of a break now because I say I did 4 on the trot, and I'm just trying to like save some money now, just really try and get a bit of money behind me because the Mania trips, man, they're expensive. And
they are expensive.
These for me, it's a little bit they are high priced, but I mean, 44. If it is in Tennessee, I would love to go. I mean, I really would. I've never been to Nashville. I like the South. And I've seen the Nissan Stadium, and I think have they done some work on it or something? I remember SummerSlam being there the other year, and it was Brock and Roman, wasn't it? 22.
Yeah, that's what I heard, but I don't know if they're like renovating it or if they're making a new one that should be ready in 2027. That's like the rumors I'm reading, but trust me, man, I'm looking forward to it too. And that's probably
I mean, I'll be really honest with you, like I would always consider it. I think it's more, while I can, I'll do it. But it's the thing with Vegas. It was just like, why would I go back 2 years on the trot? I'll be really honest with you. And I know, like, obviously you mentioned Vegas on previous videos about not wanting to go to 41 because of just how expensive shit was. But I mean, from the guy who like lived in the Vegas, did the Vegas one, the overheads on that trip was stupid. Like everything down to like the accommodation, the flight, even down to like food and drink and just very, very high price. Everything just felt very paying through your eyeballs for literally everything that they are putting in front of you. Like, I mean, just and then to like be like, yeah, well, we're slamming it back down on another year at Vegas again. It really didn't work in their favor, because I just think the people that went to 41 were like, yeah, we're not doing another one, not on the same.
Yeah, trust me. As soon as I saw those ticket prices, like when for 41 or whatever, the first time they went to Vegas, and I saw like the ticket prices, and on top of that, you had your service fees and your entertainment tax. I'm like, forget this, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever, it wasn't worth it. And I'm kind of glad because, again, I talked about this in my other video. I wouldn't have been financially stable going. I think I was going just to say to go. I
Yeah.
wasn't like financially comfortable. And like now, obviously, a couple years have passed. It's a different story now, but it is like living at home is one thing. Like you don't have any more worries, right? I got a mortgage now. I got all this stuff to like worry about now. So it's you got to put a lot more thought into it. At least I do. You're still okay, but that's fine. Good for you. Enjoy it while you can, buddy.
I'm gonna enjoy my life, man.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not going to keep you much longer. I know it's late over there. I appreciate you taking the time. Yeah,
you're totally fine. Enjoying chatting with you. It's been fun.
Yeah, man. It has, but thanks for joining me. I'm gonna cut this off now. We're just hit the hour 10. It's good.
Hour 10.
Breeze. We're a breeze.
Yeah, you got a little.
But thanks.
You want to wrap it up? Is there any way? Is there anything you want to? How do you want to wrap it up?
No, we're just gonna wrap it up now.
There you go.
We'll just sign it out.
I feel like I made it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you. All right, thanks, Ollie. We'll talk soon.
How do you want?